What's up, everybody? Today on Make It Cozy, we're going to talk about bandsaw jigs. Let's check it out. Previously on Make It Cozy, we talked about how you can buy good quality tools secondhand. You find that deal is just too good to be true, you want to pull the trigger, you want to buy it right now, and maybe sometimes it's just lacking the accessories. So you got to go out there and make your own. That's what I did, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to make your own too. All right, so you just got a new bandsaw in the shop. You want to make it personal. You want to make some jigs, start producing stuff, get your hands dirty, throwing stickers on it. I know I'm a big geek, but whatever, I stand by it. But the first jig that I want to talk about is a circle cutting jig. Now here I remember this guy from an earlier video. I'll leave a link in the description on how I made it. The concept is the same, but unfortunately, going from that little one to this one, it's not going to cut it. You know what I'm saying? So, I made this one. It's just longer, but it still goes into position just like my other one. If you give that video a look, I'd appreciate it, and you can see some of my earlier shenanigans.
Oh. You're talking about shenanigans, right? Put those away!
Yo, at the end of the day, some people like to make circles. But let's go ahead and get into real meat potatoes and make this Resaw Fence. Going back to my restoration of this bandsaw, you probably know that whenever I got it from auction, that it did not come with the fence right here. Now the fence, going back to looking at the tech manual, is similar to this table saw. It should have these runners right here. It's got the two sets in order to clamp this guy down, rolls back and forth, just like this guy here. The problem with that though, is that even if I did try to mimic it, this is only sitting at 2 inches high. So if I wanted to resaw like a log, it's too shallow, so to speak, and it could fall over. Safety-wise, not good. Then I started thinking, right? I could go through, take a piece of angle, cut it in half, drill it so that I can mount it on the front, the back. That way, my fence could ride along the angle iron, right? I've got that cold rolled steel. You got this guy right here, right? I got about 6 inches of clearance from the bed to this little bump right here, the bottom bump. Then I'd have to brace it, square it up, make sure I got those clamps so it'll clamp from the back and the front side. Now look, you know I got that front, that back, that side to side, daddy. There ain't no question about that. But we're just gonna skip all that. We're just gonna go real simple. I decided to go the magnetic base route. So my other idea, you take this, clunk, clunk, right? That's solid. That's not going anywhere. Now this one came with hardware. This got this M8 screws like this. It screws to the front. So then what I got to do is just drill out a little spot from this guy. Boom. If it's screwed up, clicks into place. Boom. I got my fence. It's going to be solid against here. Only problem is that the amount of play that I got to work with in these M8 screws that it came with, it's not good enough. So I had to go over to my big box. And now I'm rocking these M8 screws right here, right? So you can see the difference. Boom, right? So now that's gonna give me enough to recess these down into the wood so that it's gonna clear, right? Because if I'm resawing and I got a bump right here, no bueno, right? It's not gonna work. But it's also gonna give me enough room on the thread so that I can mount it into this magnetic switch. Boop. So what's nice about these magnetic bases is that once I'm done with this Resaw Fence, I can just unscrew it, turn it to the off position, and then I can take this, remove it from the bandsaw, stick it on my table saw, and now I have something to butt up against reproducible cuts. Boom, 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 just knock them out real quick. Yep. All right, so let's get to it. The only thing I have to do for this fence is drill 2 holes. I'm gonna go 3 centimeters up because according to the schematic that came with those magnetic switches, that's where the M8 tap is. So that's where I'm gonna go from the bottom. After that, I'm gonna take this 1-inch Forstner bit in order to drill out 2 recesses for those M8 bolts to sit into. That way it clears the length of the fence all the way down. And then I'm gonna come in from the backside. I'm gonna use a 1/4 inch drill bit followed by a 5/16 inch drill bit so that the threads can actually have some leeway to screw into the magnetic switch. And after that, I'm ready to square it up. Now, going from the front to the back, I had to use a shim on the front side, just one, and then I had to use 2 shims on the back to make sure that it was square up against the fence itself. And then I just make sure that the length is equidistant, and now we can get ready to cut. So for those of you playing the home game, you've got to be safe about this, right? You can't take a round log to a bandsaw that's spinning super quick and risk hurting yourself. So I took one of the quote-unquote sides to my jointer so that I could get a flat base to run along the bed here. That way I can just mill off this side piece so that I can get a semi-90 going on. That way I can start milling up boards as I see fit. So here we go. And whenever you have a lot of girth going on here, then it's really easy to get your first few boards without risk hurting yourself. You have a lot of room between the blade and your fingers, like you see here. As you get closer to the blade, I figured using a push stick like you would with a table saw was a good idea, and it worked out for me. But I also made this push block that I also use with my joiner, and it's just a spare piece of ply with a handle and some of that grippy stuff that you line your kitchen drawers with. And then boom, 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 boom. We got stacks on stacks. There we go. Looking good. So yeah, that's it. It's a pretty successful jig. And I didn't have to do all that cutting and stuff I was talking about earlier. I just took about maybe an hour to do this thing. Put it together, all thanks to some magnets.
Yeah, bitch! Magnets! Oh!
But I'm gonna go ahead and call this video here. If you want to see how I restored this guy after getting it from auction in pretty beat up shape, you can check out this video right here. Other than that, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.